I'm Jade McNeil and welcome to the B Space podcast, your bi-weekly dose of business and property realness. No hype, no fluff, and definitely no BS. Just honest conversations about what it really takes to build something from nothing. Hello. Welcome back to the B Space podcast. So this one is a short and sweet one from me, but it's about a topic or topics that are I'm hearing more and more about at the moment, which makes me feel, I feel like I want to talk about it. I want to utilize any platform I have to be able to kind of have the conversation in hope that, like, if you're feeling affected by what I want to talk about, that you're not on your own with it, because I think it can be quite sort of damaging. So let me put a bit of context into this, okay? So very recently, I went onto a call with a couple of clients who are very experienced, established business owners in their own right. And straight away on the call, one of them said to me, "I'm sorry I've not been fully kind of around the past couple of weeks. I've been experiencing really severe burnout," which is always a shock for me to hear, and I never want to hear that. Now, I mean, I've spoken about this before in a previous pod, right at the beginning of me starting the podcast, but a big trigger into kind of how I've built the businesses the way I have is that I hit burnout when my kids were really small, and I was building up B Space, and it was a design business at that point, and doing lots of property development for myself and for clients. And yeah, I hit burnout and was really, really poorly. I think it was Christmas 2017 from memory. So I've been there, and I know how horrific it can be. So when someone tells me that they're going through that, I know firsthand. And my other client on the call then goes on to tell me that they are feeling serious levels of anxiety. So I'm sat there with two super experienced, amazing business owners that I deeply respect, who are telling me one's hitting burnout, one's hitting anxiety. I then go on to a client call later on in the day, again, from somebody that super experienced, got multiple businesses, strong, person, who tells me via their notes that they've been really suffering from self-comparison, really, and negative thinking. So this has all happened within one day, which kind of makes me feel like, my goodness, these people who look on social media, you're not seeing that, but because of the relationship that I have, I know are feeling that. So this leads me to think many things, which I'm going to break down, but there's probably a lot more people out there right at this point that are also feeling that way. So because I've been there, I've definitely felt all of these things. I do feel these things. I thought it might be helpful to kind of share what my responses were with my clients, in hope that it will help them in the moments be able to kind of deal with scenarios, and it might help you too, right? So taking it from the top, looking at burnout. Typically, when somebody hits burnout, it means that they are so overloaded and not getting a break, that they've got way more on their plate than one person can take. So how do we combat that? Well, my approach was, I looked at everything in front of me, and this was the advice that I gave to my client. What is it? What are the things that are really triggering the stress? What are the activities? So first of all, it's looking at the things that are causing the most amount of pain. What's taking up the most amount of time and causing you the most stress? Okay, that's the thing. How do we change that? How do we systemize that? Okay, how do we get you support for that thing? So straight away, it's a case of looking at team and systems. Because normally when something feels uncomfortable or it's taking up too much time, there is a way around that problem that can be done through systemization. Because most business owners at certain levels are struggling with maybe admin, being completely overrun and overloaded and out of control with admin, is a real big trigger. Maybe it's communication with clients, is out of control and you're dropping the ball. Maybe it's communication with your maintenance teams. You've got a big portfolio and loads is going on and you can't keep on track and tenants are coming for you. And it just feels like you're fighting fires all day. But somewhere along the line, a system or another person or both together is going to be able to alleviate that. But it's really important that we acknowledge what the core triggers are. We can't sort everything all in one hit, ever. But we've got to be realistic with what's in front of us and say that thing's got to change. That's the main thing that's got to change, because you're overloaded and you've got too much going on. So other people, team, and building better systems or just a system, is going to be able to take care of a lot of the overwhelm that is triggering burnout. When someone's in a state of burnout, when I was in a state of burnout, it's like there's not enough hours in the day. That's how it feels. There's not enough hours in the day for me to get this done. I mean, for me, I had 2 small children with limited childcare and was like working every nap time to try and keep on top, every evening till late, and then any nursery hours that were available. So I was just so stretched. There was just nothing left for me. That's where the idea, and this is a real fundamental thing, the idea of protecting your own time is just so important. And to not let these tasks that are overloading you kind of, start to blur into the weekend and into evenings, like where we can kind of protect our own time and how that is being used is so, so, so important. This is the same also when we're thinking about if somebody feels anxious. Typically when you're a business owner and you feel anxious, it's because, again, you're overloaded. You know that there's things that need to be done that are not getting done. And, you might be answering a lot of questions, being a lot of things to a lot of people, and you just feel stretched. You feel stretched. And a great hack, and again, I'm just talking from experience here of how I've managed this for myself in the past. I'm thinking about the conversation of time, is to really look at how are we using our time during the working week. Because typically if somebody's in burnout, completely anxious, overloaded, when I ask them, well, how's the working week looking like? Talk me through it. It'll be one big blur. Like Monday's the same as Tuesday's, the same as Wednesday's, the same as Thursday, the same as Friday. And there's no time off baked into that, we'll get to that in a minute. But everything's just like one big blur. And actually, putting the work in to try and structure your working week as much as possible is a way of taking back control. So, I mean, you can go back to the beginning of the pod. I did a whole episode on this because this is like something that I do with myself. I'm super strict. I've done with loads of businesses over the years, and it always works when it's, respected and implemented. But essentially taking control of your own schedule is being repetitive. So on Mondays, I do admin. On Tuesdays, I do client work. On Wednesdays, I do marketing and finance. On Thursdays, I do meetings. On Fridays, I have off, and doing the same thing week in, week out, which you might think, well, that sounds pretty straightforward. But like the reason that it works is that kind of to-do list that constantly causes anxiety, you can kind of park it for the day that you've allocated in your working week to be able to do it. And typically that tends to work. Having a really strong to-do list, respecting your own working schedule is a great way to like instantly take back control. And if you can take back control as a business owner of your own mind, it's obviously going to limit that anxiety that you might be feeling from there not being enough hours in the day and that things are inevitably going to get missed. Also here, communication is really, really key. So speaking to my 2 clients at the beginning of the day, one in particular, whose real kind of trigger points was around communication. It's like, well, how are you communicating with these people? Well, it's done on this, and this, and this, and this. Okay, then straight away that's an issue because there's multiple ways of communication going off. So first of all, we need to look at that. So we need to say, okay, all communication needs to go through one funnel. So that funnel for me is Slack. So I know that all work-based communication is in that piece of system. And that's where I expect to communicate with everybody. but then baked within that are my time boundaries that I'm available and will respond. So for me, as an example, my time boundaries for my clients and business partners is 10 till 4, Monday to Thursday, and typically I'll reply within 24 hours. So that just puts those boundaries in place, and when I'm available, and you're going to get a response by. So if you're allowing people to communicate with you via WhatsApp, via email, via Messenger, via Instagram, and it's all over the place, of course, that's going to trigger anxiety because 1, you can't control it. And 2, it can come for you at all hours of the day. So that's what we don't want. So really, if you're feeling like that, and communication, it could be with your team, with your clients, with your builders, whoever it is, communication is becoming like a never-ending issue for you. Think about how you can funnel that and try, where possible, to get it all going through one single place. And then you can then put those time boundaries in when you're available, when you're going to respond. And then you can personally manage that and say, no, it's okay. Those people there, they know that I'm available at those times, so I don't need to respond at 9:00 at night, because that would just be strange for them if I do that. So that's a huge way to take back control. And put those boundaries in with, your channels of communication across the board.
This episode of the Be Space podcast is kindly sponsored by the wonderful people at Landlord Furniture Co. Specialising in a huge range of high-quality bespoke furniture, Landlord Furniture Co. provides durable pieces designed to last in your rental properties. If you're searching for the perfect furniture to attract professional HMO tenants, or need more resilient pieces for your student accommodations, considering cost-effective furniture packs for a larger property, or looking for something more personalised to elevate your serviced accommodation brand, whatever your need, Landlord Furniture Co. will craft a solution for you. You can say goodbye to rubbish old flat packs and start investing in a luxurious experience for your tenants. Backed by a 3-year warranty and exceptional customer service, they really are the smart choice for any landlord or property developer out there who takes their properties, their tenants and their business seriously. So ready to transform your spaces with Landlord Furniture Co. and ensure that your investments stand out in the market? Visit Landlord Furniture Co. today at www.landlordfurnitureco.co.uk, or you can head to their showroom, which is in Oldham, or find them over on Instagram at Landlord Furniture Co. Now, let's get back to the episode.
So then thinking about the person that's really starting to suffer from self-comparison, which is such a awful trait that triggers negative thinking, right? And everybody does it. Me too, guys. Me too. And I was honest with my client on the day, and it's definitely within the business and property development space. That's not a place personally that I will do this and I'll compare. Even though I do make a joke that I do compare myself to Andy Graham and Mark Phillip, but I mean, I do. The projects are incredible and I stand by that. But it's slightly different because of my friendship with Andy. No, I mean, I do. And I'm open about this. I do struggle if you guys follow me, I'm really horsey, and I do struggle personally in the equestrian world. And I look at other riders that are kind of similar to me, but doing so much better than me. And I think, I'm not good enough. They're so much better than me. They're progressing better than me. And I'm just not good enough at this. And that is ultimately what that self-comparison, thing is. So how do we deal with that then? How do I deal with that? Well, first of all, it's about perspective, isn't it? So, if you're looking at one business owner, let's say, and you're going, oh yeah, but their deals are so much bigger than mine. And they're so much more successful than me. Well, you don't really know what's going on behind closed doors, right? You don't really know that they might be, struggling cash flow issues, that they've had tenant issues, that they've, got planning issues. Oh my goodness, that's the most stressful thing ever. They've got so much going on. They've been let down by contractors, they've been ripped off. They've had break-ins. There could be so much more going on. You're only seeing, let's put reality into this, probably only seeing the good stuff on Instagram or Facebook or, on social media. You're only getting that bit. So you've got to look at it and go, I'm so pleased that you're doing well, but take it with a pinch of salt, because the reality of building something brilliant is a different thing. Go back and listen to I mentioned Dark Veil up there. Go back and listen to the episode actually that myself and Andy did it last month in April. And And Andy talks about like, oh my God, it's such a thing to do these levels of development. And I joke with him on the pod, I think, or maybe we did it off air, I'm not sure. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to go down that road, because actually it's hard bloody work and big numbers and a lot. There's a lot going on. So, it's like take what you see and just with a pinch of salt to say, actually, the realities of doing that probably might not be for me anyway. So don't compare myself to it. Same for me with the horses people. They might not have children. They might not be running multiple businesses. They might not, like they might have more flexibility than me, more free time than me. They can train more than I can, which means they can compete more than I can. But in those moments of self-comparison, I'm not thinking that. I'm just thinking, I'm shit. I'm really shit. I've had nearly 20 years away from it, whereas they haven't. And that's what I say to myself, like, let's put perspective into this. Let's not compare, because no two people and their experiences, what they're doing, whether they're riding a horse or building a business, it's never, ever the same. So just go, good for you, and move on. And obviously, it wouldn't be right for me to kind of, do an episode about these types of subjects and how common they are, unfortunately, and how frequent they're, more and more frequent they're becoming, without mentioning the big bad monster that is social media. My goodness, it's changing so much, isn't it? It's like, Instagram's my kind of place, I guess, my comfort zone of social media. And I'm definitely finding myself more and more having to say to myself, stop doom scrolling. I hope I've said that right. I've only just recently learned that phrase off a friend. Where you just sat there mindlessly scrolling with your thumb. And it's definitely social media now. It's a viewing platform, right? Like back in the day, it used to be like a community building interaction thing where you'd speak to people, comment. But like, imagine actually taking the time out to comment now. Oh no, there's not enough time to actually interact with people anymore, is there? And that's what it's become. So ultimately what we're doing is we're just consuming more, and it's more video led, and it's just crap, basically. More and more crap, more people talking at you at the camera. Every time I go on my phone, some idiot's talking to me that I've not asked to see, that's off a sponsored ad, and I'm like, oh God, please. So we've got to manage that. And again, I've done an earlier pod about social media and kind of my approach to it. And don't get me wrong, I don't have it perfect, but we do have to manage it, and we do have to say to ourselves, right, I'm only having so much time on there, and it's very intentional when I'm on there. And if I find myself doing the flicky thumb thing, get off and do something else, because it is a waste of time, and it's not, sometimes I can feel myself, if in the evening, if I'm on social media, I can feel myself getting anxious, and I'm like, why am I even doing this? I don't even want to look at this. Like, I'm just as guilty as everybody else, but we've got to see that within ourselves, and we've got to try and manage it as the best that we can, because content is a breeding ground now, isn't it? Like a consumable breeding ground. And if it's not making you feel good, and if it's not adding value, and it's making you have negative thoughts, and it's making you feel anxious, and it's making you feel overwhelmed, then manage that. I'm not saying give it up, because that's not realistic as business owners. We need to have that within the mix, within the model, because it's marketing, and our phones are in our pockets, and which are connected to our customers, whoever they may be, whatever our product is, whether it's houses, whether it's building materials, whether it's digital assets, whatever it is, our customers, our clients are also on social media on our phone. So we do need to be present, and we do need to be available at times. But I think that self-management of just going, that's making me feel like shit, I'm going to put it down now, and I'm going to do something that's of a benefit to myself, rather than looking at absolutely garbage, rubbish content on Instagram, or even worse, TikTok. I don't have a TikTok account because I'm nearly 42 years old, and I don't think I should at my age. But the stuff I have seen, oh my God, how is that adding any value to your brain? I guess to wrap up, final thought of the episode is quite simple. And this was what I shared with all 3 of my clients that came to me. And I'm so bloody proud that I've created a space for people to be able to have these open and honest conversations with me and say, do you know what, I'm feeling like this, and it's become a problem. And like I said to them all, if you don't tell me about things, I can't support you. And that is what we all need. We all need a sounding board. We all need somebody to just go, do you know what? I'm not feeling great. And this is the reason why. Because as they say, a problem shared is a problem halved. And I totally and utterly agree with that. So, if you're feeling these things, as inevitably you're going to at some point as you grow and as you scale, things change and evolve, and tough decisions are in front of you, problems, people, all of it, cash flow, all of that fun stuff. Like, you're going to have those days where it all just feels a lot. And that's when it's really important to whoever it is that you've got in your corner that's not directly involved with what you do. That's the key here. I'm kind of, in this scenarios, I'm a third party, right? Like I've got an interest, but I'm not in the day to day. Then that's really important. So, build your network of your trusted people around you that you can have these conversations with and that you can talk about, because once you do, inevitably, you'll get some hacks like the ones I've shared in this episode of, hey, maybe try this. This might help you. It's not going to solve it overnight. Like, we've got to be real here, but it might help you to just take the edge off and just get a bit of order. But know this, right? I've been there. These things that I've discussed, I've definitely been there over the years. I expect to go back there, but it's in the moments, isn't it? It's in those moments, just pausing when you've got that feeling where you're overwhelmed, you're anxious, whatever it is, pausing and saying nothing ever lasts forever. This feeling won't last forever. And there are ways that I can support myself to come out of this, So communicate, protect your time, organize your time, take time off. My God, I nearly left without saying that. Anyone that has worked with me for a while will be like, yep, there she goes again. It's so important that we prioritize taking time off and taking time out. Like, go do something that you love. Go do something for you, but do it on a regular, like every week. It's important. Go reset. You've got to reset. We're all so guilty of just taking more and more on all the time and just saying yes to everything. And that is just going to trigger. So you've got to acknowledge that, and you've got to protect that time and say, I'm going to take time out for me, because ultimately if I do this, if I recharge, if I go and jump this horse over crazy, like stripy sticks in a field, I'm going to feel loads better after, because trust me, I do. So yeah, do that for me, guys, right? Reach out to me. Let's chat. Let's have a DM, But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this honest and open episode from me. Real important topics that every person and business owner is going to feel at some time. But listen, take care of yourselves.
That's a wrap for another episode of the Be Space podcast. I've been your host, Jade McNeil, property developer, mentor, and business coach. Don't forget to subscribe on your favourite platforms. And until next time, remember, don't believe the hype and always keep it real.